study now about idioms and phrases. The question types that come on idioms or phrases are pretty simple. They are something like the use of the idiom or phrase in the sentence, in a sentence or a paragraph, will be underlined or in bold or italics, and you will be given different options in which different replacements for that idiom or phrase would be given. You would have to choose which idiom or phrase can best replace it, which can be the best in that circumstance. Now, before we move on to that, why don't we actually see what an idiom or phrase really means? They say that idioms or phrases, the simplest way to define them is that the meaning for these set of words cannot be determined by the meanings of the different words that comprise them. Which means that if I say neck to neck is a phrase, okay, then the definition says that I cannot understand the meaning of the phrase just by taking the different meanings of the words that comprise the phrase. The neck, as we know, is a body part. Okay, again a body part, and this is a grammatical construct. So neck to neck for us would be things that are joined at the neck. Let's say if these are the necks, then they are joined at the necks, or two people, they are standing neck to neck. This would what it would mean if we take it word by word. But the real meaning for neck to neck is something that is too close for comfort, probably. So the definition for idioms or phrases means that the set of words which give you a certain meaning cannot be derived from the different meanings of the words that comprise that phrase or idiom. The best way that you can actually excel at these type of questions is through reading as many idioms or phrases as you can. Or you can go the hard way by increasing your vocabulary through rote, using flashcards or lists of phrases. I think a lot of these phrase lists will be available on our courses too. And if they are not, I advise you to go on the internet and actually search out some phrases that we missed out on. Otherwise, our practice sessions would cover a lot of these that really come on the examinations. So why don't we take a look at the examples that would put us up to speed on how to solve these questions. So the first of this question tells us that we have to identify the meaning. Okay, this is that format in which you have to identify the meaning of the phrase that has been used in the sentence. Now the phrase here is turning a blind eye. Okay, so when we have to find out the meaning for turning a blind eye, we'll have to go either by our knowledge, our previous knowledge about the phrase, or we'll have to go through text. Now, if we know what turning a blind eye means, then we don't have to worry about the options. We'll just choose the correct one, which incidentally happens to be, option number A. But if we don't know the meaning of the phrase, then we'll go through the text. Let's see what happens. She normally turns a blind eye to the cruelties committed on animals in her lab. Now the keywords here are cruelties, okay, normally, and so if you have cruelties being committed on animals in a laboratory, then the normal response to this kind of behavior would be about taking some action against it, stopping it, or condemning it. Now, if someone is turning a blind eye to something as cruel as something like this, then what is the behavior that is being referred to in this sentence? Now, normally she turns a blind eye to something like this, okay, which means that this kind of a person has this normal behavior. Now, normal behavior to something like this, as we know or as we are certain, is that people, normally people would be not that, upfront with going against the authorities, speaking against the authorities. We would assume that out of 100 people, 90 people would not rather retort to something like this. So the normal behavior, or rather sadly the normal behavior would be to just not accept that something like this is happening. So if you do not accept something like this, or you refuse to, realize the presence of activities like this, then you are refusing to acknowledge the cruelties committed to animals. Right? So what have we done in this question is, we have looked at the phrase, we have tried to solve it through two ways that we normally do in English. One is through reading the text, and one is through going through the options. Let's take a look at another question. Right, in this question, the phrase that we are looking out for is rest down. Again, in order to solve this question, if you know the meaning of the phrase, go down and choose it. If you don't, work out from the text. Let's see where we can go from over there. The owner of the pub is doing something to the bartender for breaking glasses. If the owner of a place sees that his employee is not working properly, what would be his reaction? Would he ask to change the uniform for breaking glasses? I don't think so. Would he write down? Again, this is something which is very not relevant to the thing at hand, but the correct thing that would describe the attitude of the owner towards an employee like this would be that he would censure this employee severely. He would be very angry at this employee because the bartender has just broken some expensive glasses for the owner of the pub, right? So the question gives us a correct answer as option number D. In this, I didn't even know the meaning of the phrase. I could work out the meaning from the sentence itself, right? This is the way that you can actually solve a lot of questions on vocabulary. Alright, practice a lot. In our practice session, you'll see a few questions. I request that you go online and check that there are other types of phrases and idioms that we might not have covered. Please go through them too. Best of luck.